Welcome to Rewind with Ellen, episode, what is this, 22? Yeah, I'm Ellen the Great, and
I'm our co-host, Ro Carter. How are you, Ellen?
I am good. I'm sipping on some tea.
Looking like the first. Oh wow, you getting everything involved. First lady,
Through
a little British vibe too. Little tea, crumpets and tea. Okay, I see you.
all that, all,
Elegance,
all
black
that's
elegance.
all that's missing are the crumpets. But I tried to do a bouffant or whatever you call it in honor of our conversation today, which is all about Showtime's new series called The First Lady. The first episode premiered this past Sunday on Showtime, and it caught a lot of traction, largely due to Viola Davis's depiction of the former First Lady Michelle Obama, which is a little sad, right? Because I feel like it took away from the premise, which is really dope. But what do you think about what I just said? Do you agree that it took away?
Yeah, I mean, I love that there were two other first ladies. That helped me because if there was only one first lady on this, I don't know if I could have made it through the whole show.
Yikes. Okay. So the series follows three first ladies: Michelle Obama, obviously played by Viola Davis; Eleanor Roosevelt, played by Gillian Anderson; and Betty Ford, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, as they shift through decades and reflect. And the show is reflecting on their parallel personal and political experiences, right, during their tenure in the White House with their spouse. Now, I think the episode did a great job setting the tone, right? This dramatization of the lives of iconic first ladies, right? That refuse to be pigeonholed and pigeonholed into traditional roles. I like that, right? If we could just focus on that and nothing else, I think we would get what it is they're trying to sell us. I get it that it's only the first episode, but I thought it did a good job sort of setting that up enough that I'm going to keep watching despite the obvious issues. And for me, it wasn't just Viola Davis. I also thought Gillian Anderson, she had a weird thing going on with her mouth. Like she over exaggerated the overbite, right? Like if you watch episodes, or not episodes, if you watch interviews of Eleanor Roosevelt, it's not the same as what Gillian Anderson is doing. So I'm not quite sure like who was doing the casting and who was directing this and why they made those decisions, but it is it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing: if you have video footage of the person you're trying to imitate, um, you know, study it. I would say if you have any history of a comedian doing it, that's the safest way to kind of go off what the comedian did, because then worst case scenario, we'll find it funny. And so to go into that, the gentleman that played Barack Obama, he knocked it out of the park. The brother, what was his name? Sorry.
That's an interesting name. O.T. Fagbenia.
Yes. OT, yeah, he knocked it out of the park, OT. So Fagbeni, OT Fagbeni. So he knocked it out of the park. And so I'm thinking of Cal and Peele, their version, right, of Barack, and then everybody who's a comedian, comedians that have done Barack before. So it was interesting to hear his take. And so it was humorous, but at the same time, I took it serious. Or maybe I took it serious because Viola Davis reenactment of Michelle was so like, wow, it was unnecessary. I'd rather her do her own voice, right? At that point. And that it's crazy for me that no one said to her at some point, hey, you know what? You don't need to do all this stuff with them. It's not even her voice, it's just the whole mouth stuff. I've listened to Michelle talk on her podcast, which is a great podcast if you've ever want to listen to a podcast. The First Lady opened my eyes to a lot of things that I don't think men really think about. And so I would highly recommend listening to her podcast first season.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know I can kind of understand her cadence and how she kind of talks and bravado and stuff like that. And I didn't feel any of that on the screen, you know. And we've seen her speak so many times, you know, when they go down, we go up, like all those things that we've heard her speak, her great speeches, and her when she says Barack, like all those things, you know that's Michelle. Oh, I know what that is. That's Michelle's voice. And so to miss that again, it's hard. It's hard to imitate life sometimes. And I think it was just a missed opportunity on her end. I mean, listen, we're not going to hate on Viola Davis. She's a queen amongst queens, one of the best actors we have, one of the best Black actresses we have. So I mean, just brush this off, move on to the next project. But I don't know how many weeks this is?
I don't know. You mean how many episodes?
So, yeah, how many episodes? So hopefully it's like because it's every Sunday, right?
Right. I don't think it's a limited series, so it might be the traditional 8 or 12. I don't know.
Okay, so I don't know if I can do 8 or 12 of this, but if it's 5 to 6, you're good. 8 to 12, we have to do some editing, going back in there and doing some stuff.
But again, like I said on IG when we went live before going live here, maybe they're starting it off, you know, to grow Michelle, like, right? Like maybe that was her, you know, during the campaign when, you know, she was Michelle, but then she sort of had to evolve into this first lady and maybe appear differently and sound differently and tone it down or tone it up. I don't know, because in the first scene, we see her getting her portrait done, right? And it's 2018, and her eyebrows are thick, they're beautiful, her hair is laid, she looks super refined, right? But when you go back to the 2008 footage in the show, in the series, she has a super thin eyebrow, like she looks like, all right, this is just what it is, and this is what we're gonna do. And so with that, I'm thinking like, okay, there's gonna be some progression, some evolution here, perhaps. Because who she was in 2008 is not gonna be who she was in 2018 and in 2022.
Yeah.
Like we grow, change is constant. So I'm gonna give it that grace. Because again, right, Viola Davis, we know what it is. She is, you know, top tier. She can literally do no wrong. And it's not that she did a bad job at this. It's not that she did anything wrong. It's just her portrayal, it to me is not like 100% accurate. And honestly, I kind of felt the same way about Gillian Anderson, not so much her portrayal, but again, the overbite situation kind of threw me off. I think Michelle Pfeiffer bodied her role as Betty Ford. I think she was the best. And this is just the first episode, right? Like we don't know what in episode 6, so keep that in mind. Let me welcome Rashad. Hey, Rashad.
Rashad, what's up, player? What's up?
Hey, Lisa May.
Lisa!
Oh, Rashad has an angry face because we're talking about Queen Viola.
Oh, Rashad, be honest, Rashad. Rashad, did you see? So you know what? Rashad's got to be honest on 2 things. If you didn't see it, then lose the angry face.
Absolutely. Did you see it,
lose
Rashad?
The angry face. If you saw it, I want to hear you.
Right. Did you see it, Rashad? Let's see. Lisa May, did you watch it? I don't think she watched the first episode. If anyone else is watching, leave a comment. We'll be able to see the comment and can interact with you. Otherwise, we can't see you. We can only interact with you if you drop a comment and engage in conversation. So yeah, while we wait for that, I thought that first episode for me kind of set the tone in a sense like, all right, and I had to watch it twice, right? Because the first time I was like, WTF, what's happening? And then the second time I was like, okay, let me try to understand what's happening here, and why it's happening. Also, the scene, do you remember the scene in front of Air Force One when Michelle and the girls pulled up to meet, right? And so as Michelle is walking towards Obama, she said something we weren't saying in 2008. Now, you know, I got no problem cursing in this show, but she says, the fuck? Like, do you remember that? And I was like, were we saying that in 2008? I don't know that we were. And so that leads me to believe, like, first of all, Viola Davis is an executive producer on this. So with that comes some creative license. So there's some, you know, I don't want to say embellishment, but there were decisions made to kind of insert what you think that person would say during that time. That the fuck for me did not make sense in that moment. It felt contrived. It wasn't natural. I could be wrong.
I would have taken fences, Viola, in a second. Pencil Viola in a second. Every part, just angry. What I'm saying.
Right.
That's it.
We could have taken any Viola.
Any Viola with this one. Anyway. Well, also when they're doing the portrait, right? It's when. So again, when you let me know, you're like, hey, I was like, what are we doing this week? You're like, oh, we're doing the First Ladies. I was like, okay. I haven't really heard a lot of noise about this. Like, oh, there's noise. And so I Google the noise and I see this face and I'm like, wow. And I send it to you. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, I got to see this. So again, the first scene with her is sprawled out for the picture. And then she does this, like, and I was like, what are you doing? I was like, what? It was so unnecessary. Just, just be yourself. Her mother, the actress that played her mother, Regina Taylor, did a great job. Regina's an actor. Yeah, she's been an actor for a long time.
Somebody said she sounded like Macy Gray.
Come on, don't just say she just sounded like Macy Gray.
I don't think she did either, but I was just like, wait, what?
And Aaron Eckhart, he did. I didn't like his Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford's voice was just, So again, I can't go after I saw that. You know what I did? I just based it on the context of what they were trying to show us and what was really going on behind the scenes, and that's what I loved. I didn't know that there was a shooter looking to assassinate Obama just earlier in there. I didn't know that. The sacrifices that we don't talk about women, but especially Black women in corporate America that are moving up, and to make this sacrifice, all these women make sacrifices for their husband, but now in the 2000s, you're making a sacrifice where as a Black woman, I can really move up in a company and establish a new name for myself. So now I got to sit back and let my man become the president. And on top of that, that hit home. Like, you want to be another Malcolm, you want to be another Martin, or another Kennedy. And that was like, ooh. And that hits home. And I don't want to tell our kids when you get assassinated out there. And I'll tell you, man, I've never cried in my life about any president. But I'll never forget where I was. I was in the East Village with the girlfriend I was dating at the time. And we were all in a bar. And this is unheard of, right? You're in a bar watching the election. And this is like a big thing because he was about change. And I'll never forget, a tear went down my eye because I remember them telling us this would never happen. I remember Chris Rock would make the joke, this would never happen. He's like, this is never going to happen. And you heard about this. I remember when it hit me on so many levels when I thought about this and I watched this piece, because I remember in 5th grade when Reggie Jackson ran for president. And I remember this white girl in class said to me, he's like, Martin would have been a better president, but Jesse's, and I was like, it just hit me in so many different waves. So when that happened, I got to see him. He represented. And so I love that conversation they had, that deep conversation. Like, this is bigger than us. And we will never understand that. I don't think the history books, this piece, we will never understand the pressure to do everything. We got to do that anyway as Black people when we move in the ladder, but to do everything perfect. Like, I can't be upset. Black women say I'm always the angry Black woman. You can't even be like, you can't even breathe, without it being misconstrued as you just like, oh, she looked at me with this nasty look. And there was also a touching moment. My last piece on this is when her and Barbara Bush gives her a tour, and she looks at that piece and she goes, I know this isn't you, but you can put your own art in there. And it was a moment, but it hit you on so many levels. That was powerful. But to understand that the passing of the torch and looking at, hey, you might have messed it up, but again, we're all trying to just figure it out because we're going into this blind. We don't know how we're going to do it. The times are changing, technology's changing, right? War, all these things. So everybody has their own point of view or what their agenda is. But when you're going in there, I mean, Obama's presidency is on a whole nother level. Like what he never was given an even kind of table to stand on. It was always like, we're going to take one leg, and then we're going to take another leg out over here. So it was always hate, and then the black and white thing. So there were so many levels to that. And the last thing I'll say, I'm sorry, Ellen. Michelle just wanted to change the food for kids. And I heard her speak on this live the other day. And this is recently, so this is great with this piece. And she goes, we didn't understand why this was so difficult to want to have kids live a healthy lifestyle. And what they didn't understand as her camp is that, listen, you were changing cultures, right? So if you're an Italian family, if you're a Spanish family, if you're a Jamaican family, like we eat certain things that are rich, and in America they're just extra rich on top of that. But this is culture food that you're changing, right, to make people healthy. So you're going into homes and saying our culture isn't good. And I was like, oh my God, I thought about it like we're just trying to get the soda and the crap out of the house. No. They took it as you're trying to change our culture. And when you do that and you're invading the home, you're invading our privacy. And then when she said that, I was like, wow, I had an epiphany. I was like, I never thought about it like that. I just thought it, because I work in the fitness industry, I just thought about getting the crap out. But no, people took it as, no, you're trying to change our culture. And she was never about that. And so their whole presidency and her time in office got misconstrued. I love that he got a second term to kind of try to figure it out and kind of leave a legacy for himself. So this is a great piece. I'm done. We'll go into some other stuff later, but that was my piece on that.
No. That's I agree with all of that. I mean, to your point of the visuals of what it meant in 2008 to have our first Black president, that was life changing. I love that they had a close-up shot of Jesse Jackson with tears in his eyes, tears coming down his face. I mean, that's synonymous with how we all felt, and where we were all at with that. And again, what it meant, considering that that possibility had never even been attainable for us, right? And so the fact that it happened changed everything. It changed the present, it changed the future, and it changed what can be. It's unfortunate that, and we kind of knew. Like I remember in the beginning, I was terrified that somebody's going to try to assassinate me. Like that we are going to hear about this at some point, right? So
it was fear before hope. It was before joy. It was fear before joy.
So I can't even imagine what Michelle felt. And I do like that I appreciate that they touch on that in this first episode, that she really didn't want him to be, not that she didn't want him to be, she didn't believe that he could because he was a Black man. Yeah. Right? And rightfully so, given our history, but also the concerns of, this is my husband, he's the father of our kids. God forbid something happened to him. It would be because of, this country. And so I love that they showed that perspective. I wasn't even expecting that, because it brought us back to that time in such a poignant way that for me, it just made me reappreciate 2008 all over again and remember what I felt and how it affected me and the people around me and the world, for crying out loud.
We were so kind back then, man. We were such a different planet, a different energy. It's beautiful times. It's a beautiful time.
So Rashad said that he did see it and he loved it. He said, I think that because Mrs. Obama is so recognizable, the comparisons are going to be there. Where Mrs. Ford or Mrs. Roosevelt, most people don't have as familiar knowledge of how they look or sound. Viola had the hardest job of the three, and she understood the assignment. You had me up until understood the assignment.
I agree.
She understood the assignment.
Rashad, I'm with you until understood the assignment.
But we know Michelle Obama don't sound like that, right? The voice is weird. The pursing of the lips, it's too much. Michelle Obama does not over-purse her lips. It almost felt like I felt like I was watching a caricature of Michelle Obama. And that just didn't feel right. It didn't sit right.
I was like, is this SNL skit gonna end? Is this what are we gonna stop?
Yeah. Rashad goes further to say, bro, you're gonna love this. I equate her performance to Jennifer Hudson in respect. Okay, some people were distracted by her. Ro has walked off the set, y'all. Rashad, you made Ro exit stage left. That's pretty funny. He says some people were distracted by her acting choices, but I got it. Yikes. I mean, that might be why Jennifer did not get nominated for. I don't know. But yes.
Rashad, please send your hate mail to Ellen. Rewind.
My biggest question is, did Viola have any consultation with Michelle before and or while doing this film? Somebody said she did, but I'm like,
they're not friends anymore. They're not friends anymore. They're not talking.
Yes. Okay. Okay. But aside, she said she did, right? But aside from the over pursing and the voice, I think Viola did the damn thing as she usually does, right? She did the job. She did a good job. Do I want to say showing? She did a good job delivering Michelle Obama, with the
Yes,
exception,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like enough for me
100%,
to feel
100%.
where she's coming from and who she is and where she's going and how she feels. Like the tone, the themes, the narrative, all that are spot on for Viola Davis as per usual. And so I'm interested to see in subsequent episodes, what will that change and will that grow, right? So, like I said before, Michelle Pfeiffer is absolutely brilliant as Betty Ford. I thought her opening scene, dancing, was epic. And through that single action, I thought it set up her character beautifully, right? Because who she was in that opening scene, without saying anything, all through action, aligned with who we got to find out she was in the rest of the episode. And she was the only one that Gillian Anderson did her thing as Eleanor Roosevelt. I think she portrayed her well, especially her disposition. Because I had to go back and watch interviews of Eleanor Roosevelt just to
Really?
Okay. The overbite messed me up, and I needed to see, like, okay, did Eleanor Roosevelt have that much of an overbite? And she didn't. So that was weird. But Gillian Anderson captured her disposition, her intellectual capacity, her
I felt that.
everything beautifully. So I can't wait to see what that looks like. And also finding out that Franklin Roosevelt, her husband, had an affair and something dicey there happened. So that put the kibosh on any additional procreation and marriage. But they decided to stay together in separate rooms. So the fact that she knew all of that of her husband and still stood by his side and lifted him up and pretty much just sold him to the masses in such a way that everyone was like, okay, yeah, well, we get it, and we get you. I thought that just says a lot. But I feel like that goes along with being the first lady. It's one of the the many things you have to endure. And I love what Gillian Anderson said as Eleanor when I think he was the chief of staff or whatever. Basically Eleanor was looking for how she can help this campaign, right? And Louis and the husband were like, just be the first lady. Your job is the first lady. And she was like, no, that's not a job. That's a circumstance.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my job. And I love that.
I was like, ooh, Shay. Oh, Shay.
Right.
Oh.
That hit home a little different. But yeah, I'm gonna watch this. A lot of people are already saying like, no, first episode.
No, honestly, it's an educational piece. If you're not a big history buff, this is great because you kind of go through it, but you also see it from the women's eyes, their lenses. I wanted to add Michelle Pfeiffer when she played Betty Ford, when she's speaking in front of them, because Gerald Ford had to speak in front of Congress, and they asked him a question. You see a therapist, and then she said the reason why I saw a therapist because of me in front of all those women. And when they gasp about seeing a therapist, think about that now, where we're at, where we've grown so much since then.
And they didn't even use the word therapist; they used psychiatrist, which sounds a lot worse.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the women in the area, like, oh God.
It was almost
as if all their lives are perfect. Right. But she took the time to explain, ladies, when you go through this and you barely see your man and he's doing this and the kids are running around. And I love that she found a commonality in the room where everybody could understand, oh yeah, I've dealt with that. And then he passes out and then, we kind of start all over again. So I relate to that. But now I'm talking to somebody and now I'm happy. I can be the best woman I can be now. And I was like, wow, that's deep. But you had to sell that?
Well, yeah, because he would have lost. Like, no one was going to vote for somebody or elect somebody that they think something's wrong with them mentally.
Yeah, but I love that that's a sign of weakness back then. Right. Like, we've grown so much as a people to really understand, yes, you can still be the best of both worlds. I still don't think you can you can be seeing somebody and run for president. I don't think they'll allow that still for some reason. I think there still has a negative connotation behind that.
2022.
Oh yeah, 100%. I still don't think you can. I mean, just look at what's the name right now in office. He's shaking hands with fake people all the time. I don't know. Like you got it. All your screws got to be there, but when someone's saying, well, sometimes they go off the rails, it's like, okay, now you're backing up that we don't believe you're there anyway. So I don't know. I just don't think we're still there as a culture to really grasp it as a higher level, to be the president, to be at that high level, because everybody's going to pick apart that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. What I want to know is, was her, delivering that message at that women's meeting or whatever that was it her covering for her husband, or was it her telling the truth?
I think she was covering for her husband at the time.
Right.
Because she was drinking. She was drinking. She had her own self-medication.
She had her wine glass on the podium, like having a conversation with these women.
That was the best. Like, where do I put my bag? And like hold on.
Priority, the wine or the bag?
Oh, maybe I should put this under here so I can do my thing. Sorry, my bad, everybody. My first time.
That was awesome, but she did it so unapologetically. Like
that was it.
I was trying to put myself in that position. Like I would be mortified. I would have ran out of the room. But no, she did it like a G, which she was, which as a first lady you have to be.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about this series already. Again, how it sets up these first women. So Lisa May says, I haven't seen it, but it sounds like Angela Bassett might have done a better job.
Ooh,
that's a possibility, Lisa.
That's a good. You know what, Lisa? Yes, Lisa. Yes.
Meanwhile, Rashad says, I'm just going to be quiet for the rest of this live.
Wow, Rashad. Okay. All right. Rashad didn't choose violence tonight, though. I respect that, Rashad. Thank you. You could have chose violence. You did not. You did not choose violence tonight. I respect that. So I will not poke the bear.
Yeah. So what else were you into in this first episode? I mean, and also from a male perspective, which you kind of touched on this already, but maybe you can embellish more just about your understanding of, being a first lady and, next to a man that holds the highest position in the land. Did you walk away from this first episode having a little bit more respect for, not that you didn't before, but just,
single mom. I've always had respect for that kind of role, but really understanding integral parts they played in history. I mean, that's the respect I don't think a lot of people understand and know that. I learned a valuable lesson through my life so far in terms of having the right woman by you. A lot of my friends, very smart, lawyers, some have their own businesses and stuff like that. But I remember the people they were with were like, they helped them through those tough times. And that's crazy to me. Like the brain power of what a woman's doing, not only, hey, I can do this and that, but I got to help you out and challenge you in different ways. And so we forget that. And this is a great reminder of what women really offer and bring to the table. And so for us not to applaud them and say, hey, let's definitely give them some respect, give them the flowers. Sometimes it's a little bit too late. And people get upset. Well, you got to remind her on Mother's Day and, on this day and that day. No, I mean, we live in a society, someone reminded me the other day, she's like, we were talking about commuting to work. And with it recently, there was a train shooting in New York City a couple weeks ago. And she was like, bro, I commute in. It's like, it's not, it sucks parking what I pay, but I'm not dealing with the craziness. And I had to really sit back and listen to what she was saying to me and empathize with her. Because she's like, as a female, and she's like, and I had to brush her shoulder a little bit. She's like, as a good looking woman, I was like, okay, all right, my bad. She's like, do you understand the amount of energy that is put on us just the start of the day to the end of the day by men just being aggressive or saying this or that? Like, I can't go through a morning without having 20 or 30 people just like, hey, what's up, this and that. I was like, I just want to go to work. And I never even thought about that. Like, I thought about because that's just not me. So I never thought about the energy of what people put into that day. So imagine you're going to work, regular 9 to 5. Your morning starts when you leave that door of how many people are just trying to do something to interact with you because of the way you look, or you wore this or wore that. So you got to think about your whole mindset of like, what kind of energy do I want to have? I love having good energy. I love being up, but I don't want this person to talk to me, and I want that person to talk to me. So now I got to look like this hot mess so no one talks to me. But then there's always just one or two crazy, like, oh, girl, you look good.
Regardless.
You know? And I thought about it. I was like, if you're making over $55,000, $60,000 minimum, you should get an Uber straight to work. Because that's something I didn't think about, the way you're starting your day mentally. I had to deal with 20 assholes, part of my French, before I even get the start of my day. And you're wondering why I'm upset. I'm like, you didn't deal with that. You got to sit back, put your headphones in, and just chill and ride the train.
Lucky you.
Yeah, and so I think we really have to remind ourselves of this, and this is a great way to kind of really understand what women have to deal with in the workforce, and it's at that next level too. A lot of these guys are dumb as hell. These men in history were very bright though, but there's been a lot of presidents kind of suspect, and the wives are like very just like, hey, I got this, I know how to help you out. So.
You just reminded me of something I read about Michelle Obama. She did an interview back in the day about how in her head she was about being the first lady, right? Here you have a Princeton, Harvard grad who doubted if she was good enough, right? Just because of how society receives Black women, regardless of your level of education, regardless of how articulate you are and how just well-rounded you are, just because you are a Black woman, you are looked at a certain kind of way. So hearing her say that, resonated, and I'm sure it resonates with women on different levels, even in corporate America. Being the only Black woman in an all-white organization, sometimes you struggle with, is it imposter syndrome? I'm not even sure. Maybe it is, but am I good enough? Do I deserve to be here? Right? Which is crazy to think that, but I doubt that that's specific to just Black women. I think that's just a human thing. But there's levels to it depending on the who, what, where, and why. So yeah, the plight of the woman, it's unique. The plight of the Black woman is even more unique, right? And the same goes for men, white men, Black men, all types of men. But that's something we can all relate to on a human level, right? And there's something about this series that while it focuses on reframing of American leadership and it's told through the lens of women, I think men can also get a lot from this too, that this is a unique opportunity to see this from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that it's present day. So you see, because it's shot it's several decades, I think the 1900s, the 70s, the 80s, the early 2000s, you know what I'm saying? So you see, and you just see what's like the themes and like the cross-cutting themes and patterns through each decade, just how women were treated, are treated, and I, would venture to say will always be treated by certain people. So I think it's again, it's only the first episode, but I'm captivated. I feel the same way I felt, and I'd take it even a step further when I was watching The Crown. Right? It's that
definitely had that vibe. Yeah,
history of like, oh my God, like I was plugged into The Crown, and this kind of gives me Crownish vibes, but differently, obviously. So I can't wait to see, where they go with this. I can't wait to see the evolution of these characters. And will we still be, feeling some type of ways about Viola come episode 7? Like, will it matter? Like, is the story, is the writing, and is the acting that good that it doesn't matter that she's overpursing her lips? Who cares?
I hope it's 5 or 6.
It's because you're certainly not sitting through 8.
7 is tough. 7, 8 are tough. 7, 8 are tough. 5 or 6 I can do. 7, 8 is tough.
Okay.
It's a great story. It's a great story.
Rashad, you are really quiet. Like, could you just drop a one-liner? I know our views are different on this.
Oh, they're not. We're all agreeing it was good.
No, our views on Viola, right? So I want to hear from someone who believes that she did a stellar job. So Lisa May says it's a depiction of our history. Yeah, right, it is. But listen, Rashad is like, I'm out. forget y'all. I'm done. Okay, I get it.
Rashad's making dolls of us right now. All right, you guys keep on. Okay, all right, have some fun.
And and really quick shout out to Rashad's unpopular opinion piece, which is live on blackfilm.com's website. He gives his unpopular opinion about the Will Smith slapgate. The title of the article is We Need to Talk About Will. So if you go to the blackfilm.com website, just type in unpopular opinion in the search bar, and you'll see Rashad's very cool unpopular opinion. All right. So look, he resurfaced. Okay, he just needed some compliments. I get it. He just needed some love.
There you go. Give me love before you beat me up. Give me some love.
Right. Okay. So he's just reiterating. I love Viola. She could do no wrong in my book. Got it. Same here, except for this, but same here. Yeah. So any last words about this series? And so maybe we come back, maybe episode 4 or 5 with a different.
Oh yeah, let's definitely revisit. Let's definitely revisit.
I think we're gonna need to, just because I think it deserves more conversation too, beyond the obvious. But yeah. Anyway, so did you know tomorrow's Earth Day?
Of course. 4/20 was yesterday. Earth Day tomorrow. Hello.
So that was just me. Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Get on top of it, Ellen.
I'm sorry. I knew yesterday was 4/20 though.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn. All right.
Isn't that terrible? Pray for me. All right. Well, listen. That's all we got. That's all we got for this.
Oh, can I say one last thing?
Absolutely.
You have to check out our interview that we did last week. Oh my God, with the women. Oh, that was beautiful. Dear Mama is a beautiful piece. It's a 13 minutes 50 seconds short, something like that. Yeah. Or 13:05 short. It's beautiful, 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 beautiful. The women are amazing. The director, the main actress. I mean, that was an amazing conversation. So thank you, Ellen. Thank you to blackfilm.com for making it happen. Please check it out. It's up now. We posted it everywhere. So all over the place.
Yeah, it's up on blackfilm.com's YouTube page. It's up on the website. It's up on our Rewind with Ellen Instagram page. And shout out and thank you to director Winter Dunn and actress Michaela Lachey Bartholomew, who was in King Richard, the film, right? Like the big film of the year.
And the girl is smart. When I tell you smart, like I was like looking up stuff I was like, what did she say just now? I mean, beautiful black girl and just black woman, sorry. And just her energy was amazing. She inspired me just through speaking. I mean, sky's the limit for her. I think she's gonna be the next big thing that blows up. And we got to meet her first.
She's going places. she retweeted our snippet video on her Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And showed us some love. So thank you for that, Michaela. Winter Dunn, the director, left us a comment on our IG. So thank you for that. To your point, the synergy was amazing. Thank you, Ro. Your energy brought in a whole different dope vibe. You lightened the mood up. You made folks laugh. You made us loosen up. Like, I feel like that really helped them just kind of be like, whew, okay, this feels like family. So let me just sit back and treat it as such. And it ended up being really beautiful. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So before we go, Rashad just left a comment saying, I still love you, Ro and Ellen, even though you tried it. We love you too.
Rashad, my man, brother. Hey, I'm proud of you. Welcome to the Black Film family. I will read that now. I didn't know you posted yet, so I'll look that up. And I'll give it a shout out. And I appreciate you, brother, for always tuning in. Lisa May, I appreciate you as well. All beautiful people, great energy out there. Let's go. Make it happen.
Oh, all right. Bro, have yourself a beautiful weekend. I hope the weather in New York
70 tomorrow? Someone said 70? Let's do it. Are we doing 70? Doing something. All right.
All right, my friend. I will see you next week. Wait, but are we gonna go live at 9:30 for a quick tete-a-tete?
If I didn't know we were doing that, sure. I'm.
What do you mean? We talked. What are you saying?
You didn't say that to me. You never said it to me. We're going live again? We're doing double live? You didn't say we're doing double live.
Okay, let's talk about this.
I can do it. I'm literally doing nothing but drinking wine. I can do another double live.
All right, let's talk offline.
Okay. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Take him in trouble. All right.
Good night.